name is Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop. And I've been listening to Big Finish. I listen to a lot of Big Finish, less now than I used to. But I've been listening to Big Finish, listening to the Scourge of the Cybermen, the first of the audio novels, written by Simon Gurrier and performed, as said, read by Jon Culshaw. I'll say performed by Jon Culshaw. And listen, bit of a spoiler for the review. It's a great story, very, very well written, incredibly well performed, and yet it's not 100% a recommend, right? It's not 100% a recommend. Why would that be? Why would they? And I want to add in, there's no current day, political diversiveness, correctness, whatever you want to call it, in there. It's just a really good story, really, really well written, really, really well performed. But I'm still not a wholehearted recommend. Why could that be? Stick around. That's called a tease, baby. That's called a tease. I've been called a tease before, and that's fair enough. Fine. Before we get into it, can you hit the like button? Thank you very much. I like to be liked. I do like to be liked. I like to be liked. Can you hit the share button? I also like to be shared. I normally keep that to myself, but you know what? I think we've been together long enough. I can break this to you. I can tell you the horrible truth. Like, share, subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. We nearly hit 3,070 subscribers. We're one away. Then YouTube noticed and they started taking subscribers on. Like, bing, bing. So hit the subscribe button. If you're subscribe, please make sure you're still subscribed. That'd be really, really nice. Comment, let me know what you think. And also I'm really intrigued to know what your take is on this as well. Like, share, subscribe, and of course, go check out my Indiegogo. 2 freaking awesome graphic novels. We're getting ready to wrap this up. I got some work done this week on this. I was very, very happy. We got biblical Bible stories, atheist, creationists, rationalists, and rogues. You don't have to be religious. This is a very biblically accurate story, taking place in like lots of places across the Bible. Bring it all together. So you may vaguely recognize some of the stuff going on, but it's not trying to convince you to how to live your life. I always find that weird. I'm like, why would I care? I mean, listen, I care because I want you to be happy and, whatever. But, well, do what you want, baby. Do what you want. It's 220 pages long. I wrote and drew this, and it's pretty darn good. Pretty good. There's also The Imperium, a love letter to Telly Fancy of the 1960s. Imagine a monkey in a spacesuit, James Bond, Doctor Who, Emma Pill, The Black Slap from 2001, a bit of Prisoner, a bit of Thunderbirds, all together in one, a seamless narrative. It's freaking awesome. Go check it out, and you just get a ton of extras when you buy both. But all kinds of stuff. And you listen, the more people buy, the more stuff you get. That's basically the way these things work. Oh, they tell you what, that's the audio novel that I would like to get into. Fine, let's talk about this thing over here. Scourge of the Cybermen. So it is performed by Jon Culshaw. Now I bought this because it was because on the strength of, what's it called again? The Terror of the Master. It was an additional story on the Masterful Special Edition. Better than the actual Masterful, I think. That was excellent. It was a 3-disc release. It was absolutely excellent. Really captured the feel of the time. Jon Culshaw was just unbelievably good with it. His performance is. Firstly, he's got this incredible vocal talent that he can mimic people very well. But it's not just the mimicry, right? It's the real understanding of that character that he exudes, right? And his Brigadier is excellent because he just understands Nicholas Courtney's performance so well. He knows it in so much detail. He knows Doctor Who so well, and it really, really comes through. I mean, again, he's a great mimic. So for that reason, his Sarah Jane Smith, I found it makes me believe I'm listening to Sarah Jane Smith. It put me more in that world than Sadie Miller playing. That's Liz Sladen's daughter playing Sarah Jane Smith. What I would love to happen, much the same way that Louise Jameson basically taught Jonathan Carey, the guy who's playing the War Doctor, basically taught him how to act. He had the mimicry down, and she basically in an afternoon she taught him how to act. And that performance in the War Doctor, excellent. I wish Jon Culshaw would sit down with Sadie Miller and teach her how to play Sarah Jane, because the inflections he gets, it's all perfect. I mean, absolutely perfect note. Even though the voice is clearly not Sarah Jane, it feels much more like Sarah Jane. So yeah, that's excellent. Story's great. Story's great. It's a great base Under Siege. It's a 6-part story, a Cybermen story, showing stuff that we haven't seen with Cybermen before. So why is this not a wholehearted recommend? Right? This sounds like it's knocking out the park. The problem is 8 hours long, and it's torture. It's torturously too long. So I think Dave Richardson is on the the making of thing at the end, the half-hour interviews, and he said the idea for this was to make an audio novel. I'm assuming they don't have the rights to print Doctor Who novels, and I think there'll be a real market for that. Yeah, BBC just spend their days just like going, no, let's not make money from Doctor Who. No. I think classic Doctor novel series would go well. But he said he wanted it to be like an audio novel of a target book of a TV episode that never happened. And this is not that. This is because a target book is about 40,000 words long. It's not that. It's not as long as this. It's about half as long. 5 Doctors, for example, is about 4 hours long. Also written by. See, this is what happened with this, because I love Jon Culshaw so much in this. I want to go and get more of Jon Culshaw. Target book, because his performance is just absolutely breathtakingly good. I can't believe there's only one person. Well, there's actually 2 people. It was him and Nick Briggs doing the Cybermen, and that was actually pretty good as well. But again, Jon Culshaw knocking it just unbelievable. But 8 hours, mate. 8 hours is too long. So here's what I think they should have done, because they broke this into 6 parts. There's a 6-part story. I think, because it's a digital release, isn't it? Do they even have a CD version? Right, it's just a digital release. They should have released an episode a week over 6 weeks. Why should they have done it? 1, it becomes more digestible. It's more enjoyable. 2, they get 6 weeks of advertising. They get to push it for 6 weeks rather than one time. Right, they can put it, and they control the conversation, which is the cornerstone of your social media marketing. You control the conversation. Like episode 2 drops, and you can do like a BBC, Radio Times like listing for it. It would go very well. It will go better than it is now. And honestly, the next one sounds good, but I just don't think I can do another 8-hour slog. I'm a kind of guy when I get something, I want to go through the whole thing and finish it. And I feel like stressed until I do. That's why I hate binge watching, right? I hate it when they drop a season at once. I'm like, oh God, I'm going to go watch 8 hours, 12 hours, a good 5 of its padding, right? Like, I was so happy that they cancelled Jupiter's Landing halfway through watching. I'm like, I'm out. I don't have to listen to it anymore, right? I don't have to watch it anymore. But like, I'm not a great fan of binge watching. Maybe you're an old fogey like me. Maybe I'm like the only person in the world that does it. Somebody told me once that they always put a sheet of toilet paper down on the water of the toilet before they go, so it doesn't make a splash. I'm like, really? I never heard of that before. So you never know if something's universal or if it's just you. But that's really the problem. It should be if they put it over 6 weeks, they would have sold more, and a lot of people would have got into it. What they really should be doing is a really cheap subscription service. I think they should use YouTube. And again, they get to control the conversation. You got all this back catalogue of stuff that nobody's ever going to look at because it's just a wall of stuff. But you do that, you get people into new things, and again, it's just a wall of content they can't get through. So yeah, what this is actually, instead of a audio book of a Target novelization, this is actually an audio book of one of the Missing Adventures novels from like the 90s or the past Doctor Ventures that the BBC did when they took over that range. And it's great, okay? It's absolutely great. As I said, it's a base Under Siege story set in the far future. It's set 1,000 years after Wheel in Space, right? So this post the Cyber Wars, the Doctor and Sarah Jane, I can't remember why they're there, because it's too freaking long. I can't remember why they were there, and they're in this, it's a base Under Siege, because it's literally a base underwater. It's underneath an ocean, but they got this lots of really cool sci-fi concepts that are fleshed out very, very well. Again, imagine New Adventures. I mean, a Missing Adventures novel. Like it's fleshed out very well. You really get inside the characters. So yeah, they're at this base under siege. It's underwater, and it's post cyber wars, and people are still jittery about the Cybermen. It's like, think about that. It's like, I don't know, between 10 and 20 years after the cyber war. So people are like, nervous about them. And there are a remnant of a few cyber forces in the water in this ocean that I think the base is trying to clean. I think that's the plan of it. And so you get a lot of really cool cyber action that you haven't seen before. Firstly, you get this like water damaged Cybermen with barnacles on them, kind of like remember, what was it, Pirates of the Caribbean, the second or third one, where you had the pirate ghosts who lived underwater and they had all these barnacles built. So you had that, and you hadn't seen like water streaming out of them, stuff that you really hadn't seen before. So that's another thing, by the way. I found it increasingly difficult to picture this as a TV episode, again, because it's so expansive. It's in terms of, it's a base on sea, but very, very expansive. There's like lots and lots of fun sci-fi concepts. There are these like genetically engineered daffodils in a sea of water they need to get out to a dock. But that does stuff that's pretty cool. There's a Cyberman in a fetal position. There's lots of really good cyber action, right? And the Cybermen being taken out in different ways. There's one bit where they find a dead Cyberman. This is really, really not a spoiler, and they describe it like the white ooze coming out of him, and they're trying to work out what could have destroyed him. And then they realize there's gold in the walls of the base that he dug through, right? Or sank along again. It's 8 hours long. It's 8 hours long. It's a lot to remember. Sarah Jane forms a bit of a relationship with this guy called was it Akira B? I think that's the main new character who's like the security the head of security on this base that doesn't quite trust the Doctor and Sarah Jane Smith. There's more going on with him than you realize. You know that pretty early on. There's more going on with him, and his character evolution is really, really good. And it makes it like a full-rounded character, which, by the way, Big Finish, maybe you want to do that with Avalon, right? Avalon, they do the Blake 7, Avalon books, Avalon box sets, and the big problem with those is Avalon is still a blank canvas after 2 of them, right? Yeah, but at the beginning of episode 6, you have a flashback to see this character about how he got to where he was at the beginning of this episode. And it's really good. The whole thing's really good. Lots of good cyber showdown. Really, really, again, layered in depth. Everybody's very on character. The writing is just crisp and really, 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 really strong. Just too long, or just released badly, right? They released it over 6 weeks. It would have been a far more enjoyable experience for me. So okay, if I'm grading it on terms of script and performance, it's got script and performance 8.5 to 9 for the script, performance 10. It's that good. In terms of it being an enjoyable experience, I factored that into it because it was too big. I would say give it 7, right? So the next one is a Matthew Waterhouse Adric novel, which the premise of it sounds interesting. I don't think I can do it. Thankfully, there's not tons more releases going out this month. But what this really has inspired me to do is go and get other Jon Culshaw Doctor Who audiobooks. So they go. So the future plans is this. Then they're going to do a current Doctor book. So 9th, 10th, 11th, or 12th Doctor. I hope it's a 12th Doctor. But that was the thing that really struck me with the story, that it would have worked equally well, I think somewhat better, as a 12th Doctor story. Again, the base under siege, underwater, really cool. Really cool with the barnacle encrusted Cybermen. Really, really, really cool. There's a bit in it which is a little bit talking about lockdown and pandemic, and I'm getting kind of sick of that. Like, we don't need it in every freaking thing. And like attitudes of vaccines and people panicking because of a health threat. And again, that was like, but again, it's too long. There's too much stuff in it. It's too long. Firstly, a 6-part story would have been better as a 4-part story. Just would have been better shot. I don't know how I can say that any clearer. Fine, let's just read the blurb for it and see if there's anything I missed out. In the depths of the ocean of an alien world, there's a city run by scientists. The Doctor is only too eager to help them find new ways to counter pollution and produce entirely clean energy. Oh, that's what they're doing there. Okay, fine. I remember now. Research that he says will benefit the whole galaxy. And again, Jon Culshaw's reading just so good. Just so good. I can hear him say it. But others recognize the value of the sea base and their interest is not so benign. Left to her own devices, Sarah Jane Smith conducts her own investigation. Yeah, that's the other thing. We get into the story by Sarah being bored and noticing something and going to investigate it. So the Sarah here is really good. It's just a good script for her. The lights on the base keep flickering, which back home on Earth was the first sign of the bathroom leaking. Here in the depths of an alien sea, the first indication of a looming disaster. Patiently, implacably, the Cybermen are determined to conquer the base. But the Cybermen here is a very nice bridge between Revenge of the Cybermen and what was it? What will be the last one? Wheel in Space, I guess. Was that the last cyber story? It's a nice bridge because you have the visuals on the cover are very much the Revenge Cybermen, but they're doing stuff that you saw in the Troughton era. So there's like "We will survive" is their ongoing is their catchphrase, right? It's ongoing. The music is all right. By the way, the sound design really good as well. Music's fantastic, but the music is really perfect for the Cybermen. Very but it was of the era. I don't explain it other than it worked well. This doesn't sound like a negative review, does it? It just says it was too long. It was too long. And it's determined to conquer the base and its resources. That includes the men, women, and children who live there. As a Doctor once again battles his old enemies, Sarah rallies trapped and terrified people. Then, to her horror, she realizes the Cybermen have used cold logic to predict exactly what the humans will do in order to survive. We will survive. Again, the ongoing vibe of it just is very good. It's very, very good. I really like this one. It's just, I wish they dropped it over. If they dropped it over 6 weeks, that's basically what I wish they did. And I wish they just told us clearly what they was like. We should have known it's an 8-hour release. I mean, like, Jago and Lightfoot did the same thing. They just released season 14 of Jago and Lightfoot. And I looked at this, 8 hours again. I'm like, oh my God, it's 4, 2-hour audiobooks each. It's too much, mate. It's too much. Terror of the Master. That was your template. 3 discs. And that's pushing it. That's actually pushing it. 2 discs would be better. Terror of the Master. That's your template. This is... again, this Terror of the Master was better merely because it was shorter. Right? That's really it. My name's Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe. And ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you are notified when new videos drop.